We are so glad you have time with us here on this Friday. I'm Brooke Hash, and thanks for those of you watching and tuning in on WHAS 11+. U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell says this will be his final term. He will not be seeking re-election in 2026 after more than 40 years in Congress. McConnell first took office in 1985 and was the longest-serving Republican leader in the history of the Senate before ceding that position last February. The senator has experienced several medical episodes in recent years, including repeated falls and twice appearing to freeze while speaking. His impending departure highlights the shifting dynamics of the Trump-led GOP and McConnell's tense relationship with the president himself. Their once strong bond soured after McConnell blamed Trump for the January 6th attack. Well, McConnell's announcement is sending ripple effects through Kentucky's government. Our Isaiah Kim Martinez shares how state officials are responding.
Senator McConnell on occasions has been the most prominent Republican in the nation, therefore the most prominent Republican in the world.
Reaction from Kentucky Republicans to the timing of Mitch McConnell's political earthquake in Washington.
My current term in the Senate will be my last.
From State Senate President Robert Stivers.
For people in the Republican Party, many of them owe much of their success to him.
To State Senator Lindsey Titchener.
Well, Mitch McConnell made what Kentucky is today. We used to be a blue state.
And Kentucky Auditor Allison Ball.
You know, he's one of those examples of how Kentucky has punched above its weight for a long time.
Democrats weighing in too. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg.
Just look at the University of Louisville, for example, the Parklands. Those projects and those institutions would not be where they were without Senator McConnell's leadership and support.
And on his 83rd birthday, Senator Mitch McConnell announcing he's not running for re-election in 2026, a decision he says he made last year.
And I've been honored to perform my role in confirming judges who understand their role.
Titchener sitting in front of a Donald Trump cutout in her office, listening to some of McConnell's speech before my interview.
One of the biggest legacies that he will leave is what the Supreme Court that we have right now.
Within minutes of McConnell's address, former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron became the first Republican to announce his bid to fill the seat. Here's Scott Jennings, a close friend of McConnell's and the founder of Run Switch PR.
Daniel starts out as the front runner. I think any credible pollster would tell you that Daniel would be in the lead to begin.
Thanks to Ronald Reagan's determination, the work of strengthening America's hard power was well underway when I arrived in the Senate. But since then, we've allowed that power to atrophy.
While McConnell didn't mention President Donald Trump, their disdain for each other is well documented. Jennings, a Republican commentator from Louisville.
How much do you think the disagreements between him and President Trump weighs into his decision?
Oh, I'm sure it's a factor.
A growing number of Kentucky Republicans are moving away from the establishment. The GOP McConnell built in Kentucky from the ground up.
I would say we are moving in a different direction. And I think what President Trump is doing is representative of what the people want.
But does this show a shift toward more of a hard line effort, at least in the Kentucky GOP, sort of being the future?
I don't know that to be true.
And as far as other contenders to fill McConnell's seat,
I hope that we have people who are fresh to politics, maybe not a part of the political machine.
If President Trump jumps into this, it could make a big difference.
Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
Senator McConnell's term expires in January of 2027 following the 26 midterms. This week's winter weather is to blame for at least 15 deaths across Kentucky. Governor Andy Beshear said the most recent was in Livingston County in western Kentucky. Recovery operations continue across the state, though. Beshear said more than 1,300 rescues have been happening since Saturday. He also announced a major grant for new homes in eastern Kentucky being built as a result of the flooding that hit that same area in 2022.
Today, we're announcing that we're providing a $6 million grant to the Housing Development Alliance to build the first 32 homes at the Skyview subdivision in Perry County. This is a project we've been working on right outside of Hazard, where we're going to be able to build hundreds of new homes.
The governor said this grant will also go to survivors of last weekend's flooding in the same area. If you know someone affected, you're encouraged to go to housingcan'twait.org. The music carried a special note in Butchertown last night. In Louisville, we are all counting our blessings and giving back. At Whirling Tiger Bar, a benefit concert and auction helped raise money for flood relief. Our photojournalist Aspen Hester took in the music on Story Avenue.
Music is part of our heritage in Kentucky and what continues to bring community together. I see that in Louisville all the time.
And I just love to always see like a showcase of the local talent that we have in Louisville. So we've got a ton of it.
I mean, that's the whole point of music, is to bring people together and use it for the greater good. So it's an opportunity for everyone to use it for what it's made for.
I wanted to do some songs tonight that I learned from Eastern Kentucky. So
good evening, everybody. I'd like to say thanks for coming out.
Yeah, raising money for flood victims in Eastern Kentucky. Have a bunch of our friends playing good music, like 15 different acts, having a silent auction.
I'm going to be performing some original music. I picked some that were about winter and rivers, which felt on point.
But, you know, it's all our home, and they're our neighbors. We gotta help them out. We have a platform, we have a stage, we have a room, we have friends that are talented and willing to do it. So.
I hope it shows them that people in Louisville are thinking about them, and that in the long term, this hopefully is a memory of support from afar that keeps them warm and hopeful.
I mean, it's not a ton, you know, $20.
Thank you very much. Enjoy.
If we had this happen, I know they would come out for us too. So it's very lucky that I can do something so tangible for some people so far away. So, you know, maybe they leave with a good tune in their head too.
Couldn't tell you the last time I paid for a round. I don't have to find the party. The party's out there looking for me.
Well, if you could not make it out to last night's concert, the state also created a place where people can go to donate. 100% of those proceeds will go directly to those impacted by the floods, including paying for the funerals of the victims. We have a link to donate on our website, WHAS11.com. And we are so fortunate that that forecast that you've been looking at for almost a week now, everything's gone, right, Mallory?
Yeah, if only, right?
For now.
But yeah, so the rivers are receding. That's the good news. Thankfully, they're not dealing with any active flood warnings in eastern Kentucky at this point. What we're left with is practically the Ohio at this point, which did crest overnight and into this morning. So that's some great news here in Louisville as well. You're taking a look at the forecast for the gauge around downtown Louisville. So it crested around 28.3 feet. Keep in mind, the average pool is 12 feet. So we've been in minor flood stage here throughout the week. It is expected to continue to recede as we head over the next couple of days. We have that flood warning in place through Saturday night. Beyond that point, it will drop below flood stage and get back closer to that normal pool height of 12 feet there. But as we take a live look from our downtown Louisville camera by Bachman Auto Group and the U of L Health Cam network here, you can see all that debris. We're certainly going to have some cleanup once those flood waters do recede this weekend and into early next week. We're seeing some of that sunshine, really dependent on where you are. Temperatures certainly still chilly in the 20s, a few low 30s trying to sneak in on the map here. And we have had some clouds, more so just over the northeastern corner of our viewing area. So lots of sunshine for many of us, especially if you're west and south of Louisville, but on that northeast edge there, dealing with a bit more cloud cover. So there's a divide there. Your hourly planner showing partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies, really depending on where you are. We're looking at highs at Louisville today, topping out around that 32-degree mark. Now, this weekend, temperatures are going to warm up, and we do have a quiet stretch of weather on tap as well. We'll be talking much more about that coming up in our 7-day forecast.
The woman accused of killing a fellow patient at a Louisville rehab facility will have her mental health evaluated. A judge ruled Angela Hensley will undergo a psychiatric evaluation to see if she's competent to stand trial. LMPD arrested her last week at the Praxis Rehab facility off Malcolm Avenue. Police said Hensley admitted to strangling another patient with a towel, claiming the woman, Holly Knight, wanted to die. Hensley is charged with murder. She'll be back in court on April 10th. A federal judge dismissed a motion to throw out the guilty verdict for former Louisville detective Brett Hankeson. He was found guilty of using excessive force the night Breonna Taylor was killed, and attorneys pushed for federal judge Rebecca Grady Jennings to acquit him, saying there was not enough evidence to prove Hankeson intentionally restrained Taylor's movement by force or that she was alive at the time he fired the shots into her apartment. According to a court document, the judge said the jury already had the opportunity to consider those same arguments at trial and found there was enough proof to convict him. Brett Hankeson is scheduled to be sentenced on April 8th. Happening today, more former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knowles' possessions will be auctioned off as the convicted felon tries to pay his court-ordered restitution. This is the third auction of his belongings so far. Today's online auction is only online, featuring knickknacks, antiques, toys, industrial fans. There's sheriff's paraphernalia and Indiana GOP items. Most bids start around $5. The auction began at noon on the auctioneer's website and goes until Monday, March 10th at 9 a.m. Knowles currently serving a 15-year prison sentence with 3 years suspended to probation. Habitat for Humanity will celebrate the completion of a new home today, holding a ribbon cutting in Jeffersonville. The home's located on Riddle Street and marks the 7th completed house in a 10-home project. Today's celebration begins at 4 o'clock.